CNN's Patrick Ottman is in Freeport for us. Patrick, you've had an opportunity to tour some of the devastated areas, to speak to some of the storm survivors. Tell us what you're learning.
Today was the first day after many days of being here. I've frankly lost count, Wolf, that we were able to get outside. The winds weren't blowing so hard, although they were still blowing pretty hard, that we could try to get around some of this island. Many of the roads are still underwater. Many of them are blocked by submerged cars. We got to one area, though, in East Freeport, where a crew of people, a collection of volunteers, have brought their jet skis, their small boats, and are trying to carry out rescues that the Bahamian government so far has not been able to do. We met one man. His name is Howard Armstrong. He has been pulled out of his house early this morning with just the clothes on his back. He said he had lost everything, including his wife.
It came over the roof. I would imagine 21 feet at least. We were doing all right until the water kept coming up and all the appliances were going around the house like a washing machine. That's probably I got hit with something in there. And my poor little wife got hypothermia, and she was standing on top of the kitchen cabinets until they disintegrated. And then I kept with her, and she just drowned on me.
I'm so sorry.
I know. So
how did you get out?
I got out. I had a big boat anchored in there. I'm a crab fisherman, and I have a 40-footer on a mooring, which stayed there. So I didn't even think it was there. So I had got out of the house after my wife drowned, and because you couldn't be in there anymore. And I had no tools to chop a hole in the roof, in the ceiling. So I swam. I saw my boat was still there, and I swam. I took a chance and swam out to it.
Armstrong said after he swam out, Wolf, he went over to the house of a neighbor, swam to the house of a neighbor who had been calling for help all night long. He said when he looked in the window, he saw her dead body as well. We left Armstrong today. He was waiting to see if his wife's body would be recovered today. Rescuers said, though, their first priority, though, is bringing back the living, rescuing the living. They've rescued dozens so far today. There's believed to be still hundreds of people out there waiting to be rescued. Wolf?
Yeah, the awful situation, Patrick. How is he dealing with it? Is he in shock right now? Because it's so sad.
He was incredible shock. We tried to help him. He said he just wouldn't leave until his wife's body was brought out. And there were other people who told us about missing relatives, people who said they'd seen their relatives pulled off by the waters. So the death toll tonight is at 5, but it does not include anybody from this island, the island of Grand Bahama. And we have heard reports, multiple reports of missing and dead. So that death toll, once authorities are finally able to reach this island, is just going to rise. In the meantime, Wolf, you have to think about those people spending their third night in houses that are underwater.
Is this the worst you've ever seen, Patrick? Because I know you've covered these hurricanes for many years.
I've covered Katrina, I covered Wilma, I covered Irma, and you see some terrible devastation, and nothing like this. It gets worse every day. It doesn't get better. Usually after a hurricane, things start to get better. Here, things are continuing to get worse. Our only hope is that now the skies have cleared enough that it will be safe for the Bahamian or the U.S. government to begin landing planes and choppers here that can help with the rescue efforts. The Bahamians who live on Grand Bahama need that help desperately.
All right, Patrick, we're going to have more from you coming up. Thank you so much for your really excellent reporting for us. I know this is difficult for you. It's difficult for everyone on the scene over there. I want to get another look right now at the mind-boggling destruction that we're beginning to witness in the Bahamas. The storm chaser who took the new aerial video we've been showing you is Brandon Clement. He's on the phone for us right now. He's in the Bahamas. Brandon, I know you do this for a living, but is this the strongest hurricane that has ever made landfall in the Bahamas? Is this the most incredible destruction you've seen?
Well, it's hard to compare hurricanes, like Hurricane Katrina, it demolished and complete ground up, left nothing for many miles along the Mississippi coast. And of course, you had New Orleans with the levees failures. You had Mexico Beach and Michael, where it's just completely leveled. Nothing left. Here it's different. It's not one area that's just completely demolished. There are multiple areas that are really bad, but over a widespread area on either side of the island. But to complicate the matters, it is an island, and the airport is underwater. So the relief effort is going to be very difficult to get in. The waves are too big for boats, too much debris for helicopters. There's nowhere for fixed-wing aircraft to land. So it's very difficult for people to get in. We were able to get in and land on a golf course this morning with some first responders just getting in, and their purpose, is to get in and clear spots for other helicopters to land, different areas for helicopters to land around the island to get relief in. Because there's only one way in, it's by air right now. So if you can't land, then the relief effort's no good. So it's a devastating situation. It's horrible. I know we're just beginning to get some of the numbers as far as death counts and missing and stuff like that. But I'm really reserved to think that's going to be the final.
Yeah, it's going to be awful because the numbers are going to increase dramatically. We've heard that people survived the storm clinging to their roofs, and you actually saw some of those survivors. Tell us what you saw.
When we got in there today, the water had already pushed out for the most part. There were some areas still underwater, but it was nothing like it was yesterday and some of the images we saw yesterday. So what we saw today was not people cleaning the roofs. It was people all gathering into the remaining structures that were, at least usable or habitable. And we saw groups of people, sometimes 10, 20 people, and sometimes we saw 50 or 60. Then we saw some other people appear to be looting and others driving around. There's a little bit of everything. It's very hard to tell what's going on right now, especially from the air with the conditions so bad today. We weren't able to slow down very much, and of course, low on fuel as well. We're limited on the places we could go.
Brandon, what are you hearing from people who are still trapped?
I'm hearing stories. I'm always hesitant. Whenever comms go down, everybody assumes the worst, and one rumor seems to be spoken with gospel. But, I'm hearing some really crazy stories, like bodies are being stored in school buses and stuff like that. But you never know what's really true or not until comms get back up in the area. I know we saw the same thing after Irma. There were rumors of body bags were running the streets of Key West. When I flew over Key West, though, it was fine. There's nothing wrong. But then you get down towards Summerlin, Big Pine Key, and it's total destruction. So the rumors we heard were absolutely false for that, and it tends to be the case most of the time. But you just never know until you get comms up and start getting widespread help.